It is still basketball season, even though we've started spring football. In fact, it's the most exciting time of basketball season because we are heading into the big dance. There's no turning back now. You've got your dancing shoes on. We are ready to embrace the madness. It all starts on Friday in Memphis. I will be there. I'll be doing shows from there. I can't wait to get the pulse of whatever they call the city nickname for Memphis. I can't wait to be out there. Elvis's backyard, Beale Street, barbecue, Mark Cohn, all of it. And Baylor taking on Colgate. We're going to have a full Colgate preview tomorrow as well, by the way. But so much of this is a numbers game when you get to March. Okay, there are Cinderella runs that get to the Final Four. They very rarely actually win the national championship. It is a game of numbers, just like any other sport, even with that excitement in there and some of the Cinderellas, it still does come down to that. So I saw this interesting thread come across my timeline the other day. Connor Allen, who covers the NFL mostly, but loves March Madness, went in there with a number standpoint. And he goes, when you look at the last 21 years, which is really the kind of the KenPom era, there are 2 qualifications that over 95% of March Madness national champions have in that span. Using the pre-tournament KenPom metrics of previous national champions, there are 2 that stand out. Adjusted offensive efficiency, adjusted defensive efficiency. Okay? 95% of national champions have ranked 21st or better in adjusted offensive efficiency. The only one that didn't was that Kevin Ollie, Shabazz Napier 2014 UConn team. They were the only one. Baylor was well within that in 2021. They were the 3rd ranked adjusted offensive efficiency, best 3-point shooting team in the nation that year. And I look at this year's Baylor team. Oh boy, are they going to fit into that category? We've seen that great offense when it's great, but it's been up and down. They're comfortably in that. They need to be 21st or better. They are 6th in the nation. Okay, so that's the first one. All right, we dodged that bullet. The other one, 95% of winners ranked 37th or better in adjusted defensive efficiency margin. Okay, and 100% ranked 44th. But 95% are 37th or better pre-tournament KenPom. So that's what we're looking at. Bad news, Baylor fans. Bears are not even close. They're 64th in that category. Now, this is obviously all in pre-tournament. When you look at post-tournament, it allows for a lot of teams to move up because, KenPom's all adjusted. So you're playing good teams. If you play 4 or 5 good teams in a row, tournament teams in a row, those things go up. So Baylor's 64th in that. They're not close to that 37th. Now, if you were listening closely, you'll realize I said 95% of the teams in the last 21 years that have won it have been in the top 37. 100% have been in the top 44. That's because the only outlier outside of the 37th, 2021, the Baylor Bears were 44th. I think a lot of people forget that. They moved into I think 27th by the end of the year. But we kind of forgot that because they were just a good, solid defensive team all year. And it certainly showed in that championship game against Gonzaga. It showed in the semifinals against Houston. It showed in the Sweet 16 in the second half and that comeback against Villanova. They were a good defensive team. So that shows you just how good you need to be a national championship team. That Baylor team was actually the outlier there. So it kind of brings me to the question that we've been bouncing back and forth on all year long. Is this Baylor team a good defensive team or a good enough defensive team to make a deep run in the tournament? Are they good enough to make a run? Yes. And I'm talking like Final Four good. They can absolutely be that good. But it has been Jekyll and Hyde this year. And when they've really relied on the man-to-man, it hasn't necessarily been great. Now, this team has good disruptive defenders. Obviously, Yves Missi, rim protector, shot blocker, absolutely. Jalen Bridges, long arms. His defense has gotten even better as this season has gone along. He can shut down passing lanes, very disruptive. Jaden Nunn, good on-ball defender. Probably not great. Not Davion Mitchell, great, obviously. Jacoby Walter, more of a disruptor than a great one-on-one defender. So that's why they're so good in a zone. Is their team defending can get them anywhere. But that individual defending, it it leaves something to be desired. And that's why it took so long for Scott Drew to go to the man-to-man defense, because it wasn't until the late 2010s and into the early 2020s that college teams were really spacing the floor, which kind of forces you into man-to-man a lot of the time, and that's advantage offense. So is the defense good enough to win a national championship? I don't think so right now. Have we seen them go on 3 or 4 game stretches where their defense is off the charts against some of the best competition in the country? Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Talk about keeping teams in the Big 12 under 65, 70 points in the meat of the Big 12 schedule. That is nothing to sneeze at, man. That's a pretty good mark right there. So can they do it? Yes. But looking at the metrics, they're off. They're not in that national championship metrics. They're also a 3 seed. There are not a lot of people are saying, "Hey, Baylor national champions." Although I don't know about you guys, but I am seeing a popular pick is Baylor in that Final Four. They're not feeling great about North Carolina. They're not feeling great about Arizona. That's become a popular pick. Can they get there with this defense? I think so. If the threes are falling offensively, that allows them to take more chances defensively. I think they can get there. But if you're talking about the best of the best when it comes to those metrics, they aren't there. They aren't there. But then again, there's one outlier in both of those. Both of those categories. It was UConn in one, it was Baylor in the other. So it's March, man. Anything can happen. And I know you guys all know that, but anything can happen.